All right, we are learning now today's Chumash portion, and we had this amazing story that Yosef was taken from the pit, from the jail, and he was serving over there a life sentence, no way of getting out, and he interprets a bunch of dreams, and he becomes the eventually that raises him up to be the virtual de facto king of Egypt, which eventually becomes the whole world. So there's nothing to eat anywhere in the world. Nothing to eat. All the food is going away. And Yaakov sees that there is shever, that there is food in Egypt. Let's see, it's over here. Shalom. So he sees that there is food in Egypt. And he says, Yaakov says to his sons, Lama titra'u. What does it mean, Lama titra'u? Why should we be seen? What does that mean? So Rashi says, Lama titra'u atzmachem lifnei bnei Yishmael bnei Esav ki lo atem seveim. Why should you appear in front of all the other people in the world, the sons of Ishmael and Esav, who, after all, are sort of relatives to the Jews? Ishmael was the brother of their the son of their great grandfather of Abraham, and Esav was the son of Esav was the brother of their father, but he was the son of their grandfather Esav. So why should you look like you're all the children of Esav? Why should you look like you're satisfied? Because at that time they still had food. That's what it says in the Gemara in Tainus. But Rashi says, it seems to me, why should you appear? What does it mean? Lama should be that everybody's looking at you and they're very amazed that you are not looking around for food. Everybody will think you guys are crazy just because you have a little bit of food in your pantry. You're going to wait for the last minute. So everybody's going to be Lama titra'u. Why should you look different than everybody else? Everybody else has a little bit of food in their house, but they know it's not going to last very long. And we're the same as they are. Why aren't you worried? Bipi acharim, and from others I heard, shehu lashon kechisha. Kechisha means denial. Kechisha, and kechisha means, then also means to be thin, skinny. Lamatiu kechushim barab. Why should you be thin and weak and skinny with hunger? Lamatitra'u. The domalo something marve gam hu yore. Oh, the pasuk in Mishle. The Rashbam says, why should you be titra'u? It says, why should you show your face? In other words, why should you be like, how do you say, haughty? Haughty. Also, it means lamatitru. Why should you be like, act like people who have a lot of food? Basically, the same thing as Yaakov, as Rashi said. In other words, why are you delaying here? Why don't you look around for food? That's what pretty much Rashi said, the second one. But here's a long explanation that's basically the same thing. And Yaakov saw, what does it mean he saw? Not that he saw with his eyes, but it means he saw with his heart. He realized, he understood that there wasn't any food. And he says shever, the word shever. Okay, let's just go. This is the Rabbeinu Bechaya ben Asher. He explains like this. Lama titra'u, why should you be thin? He says the same thing over there as we had previously here from the Rashbam. Kuhushim, right? We just finished learning. Why should you be skinny? In any case, why should you? Why should we suffer? Why should you be different? Why should you just sit around and do nothing? In other words, okay, mizeh, this is a hint that he says radu sham. We'll see, and he doesn't say go, because this is, we have to remember what's happening over there. This is beginning the Egyptian exile. They're thinking about, food, do we have food or not? But really what's underlying this whole thing is they're beginning the Egyptian exile and they don't want to begin it. And that hints at should ra lahem l'shever v'legalus misham, that you will be broken. Shever means food, but it also means shever, to be broken and being in exile. And that's what he says. Look, what is it? Well, let's see. Let's again. What does Rashi? What does he say? Yaakov say? Yeshever b'Mitzrayim. Yaakov saw that they were going to be broken in Egypt, and Yaakov said to his sons, "Why should we titra'u? Why should we go down there and appear here?" Let's see what he says. Lama titra'u. Here, one second. Sorry. Also, the word shever means also tikva, to hope. He saw in a pure vision of holiness that there was always shever b'Mitzrayim. What does it mean, shever? There was also hope. There was hope in Egypt, that they were going to go down to Egypt, but don't delay, because there's still hope. It's going to be okay. This is what God wants. Don't be worried. Go down to Egypt and let us begin the exile right now. He said, and Yaakov said, listen, I heard that there is food in Egypt. Radu Shama, go down there. Now, Radu is the numerical value of 210. It shows the 210 years of exile. The Rashi will say that. V'shibru lanu, and buy for us there, v'nichiyeh v'lo, so that we will be alive and we're not going to die. Rashi says, Radu. He didn't say lachu, go. This hints at the 210 years that they're going to be slaves in Egypt. Resh is 200. Dalet is 4, Vav is 6, that's 210 years of slavery that they're going to be there. Just want it, we'll just delay on one of these. Gimel. So the brothers of Yosef, they went down, there were 10, to get food in Egypt. Why were there only 10? Well, Yaakov did not want Benjamin to go down there. Yaakov said, listen, Benjamin is my only son from Rachel. He is really the whole reason that I began this whole thing. Yaakov wanted to get married to Rachel first and have all the children from her. But Hashem wanted it differently, and it ended up that only 2 sons came from Rachel, and they were Yosef and Benjamin. And Yaakov said, Yosef is already dead, right? All the other sons came back with Yosef's coat, his coat of many colors, all soaked in blood. And he said, "Oh, my son, Yosef is dead, but now, so you're not going to take Benjamin. Benjamin is the only thing that I've got left from Rachel." So the only 10 brothers went down to buy food in Egypt, to get food in Egypt, to procure food in Egypt. Okay, you're going to see a very strange midrash over here, which we're going to learn today. Listen to this. It says, there went down the brothers of Yosef. That's pretty strange language. The brothers of Yosef were 10. They went to get Egypt. Why does it say the brothers of, they really weren't so much brothers. Whoever has a brother like that is in bad shape. The brothers, they sold them. Why were they called? They sold them into prison. Why were they called the brothers of Yosef? They should have been called the sons of Yaakov, like always, Bnei Yaakov. That's always what they're called. Rashi stands on this question. It doesn't say Bnei Yaakov. Malamed teaches us Shalom mitchartim, shahayu mitchartim, that they regretted that they sold him. V'natnu libam, and they took to their heart, Litnaegimo be'achva. And they said to themselves, if we ever find him, Yosef, if we ever find him, they don't know it's Yosef yet. But they said, listen, this is probably happening to us, all this trouble, because we killed our brother or we sold him into slavery. We don't know what happened to him. But if we ever find them again, that we will surely act like brothers to him, and we'll redeem him. If we just know where he is, we'll pay all the money possible in order to redeem him. 1 second, it's my wife calling. Hello. So, I'm sorry, I just have to go one moment. My wife has something that she determined is very urgent. And 1 second, let me just make this small. We'll just take a little short break here. 1 second, take a break. I can't pause Zoom recording. Good. All right, a short break. Here we go. So I heard that there is this Egypt. So the brothers of Yosef, you're the Achi Yosef. Why does it say the brothers of Yosef? Strange language. Why doesn't it say the sons of Yaakov? So it said because now they decided they're going to be brothers again. So I said, if we ever find him, then we're going to be his brothers. Okay, good. Listen to this here. It says, Rabbeinu Bechaye. So we asked the same question, and he brings the answer, what Rashi said, that Rashi says, oh, yesh laperish, or maybe we can answer like this. Am I not sharing this? What's going on? Sorry, just one moment. Or maybe we can answer like this. Yesh laperish ki katuv yavaer. This is explaining their good intentions, because 10 people went down in order to prey on Yosef in a minyan. That's why 10 people, because the holiness is not less than a minyan, like it says, V'niktashti b'tochim Israel. So that was what they mean. They were all the brothers of Yosef. They all went down, hoping that the whole world was coming down to Egypt. So they hoped that maybe Yosef was among the people that were hungry and came down. They didn't know where. The Rambam says the brothers of Yaakov went down 10 in order to fulfill the dream that Yosef had. It said that there were 10. Kihu haya mispar misaper elachav. He told his brothers that there were 10. That's what it says. He said to his brothers, and they hated him. They still hated him. He said, all these stars and the sun and the moon are going to bow down to me. And also he said, we're gathering up sheaths of grain. Benjamin is not in this category of people that are going to bow down to me. It was his brother. Now they could say, maybe this is the dream that they had. We're going down into Egypt to gather up grain. Maybe Yosef also came down to gather up the grain, or maybe they even sensed that Yosef, he was the one that was gathering up the grain, that their grain was going to bow down to his. In other words, he had more grain than they did. The other dream that he said, the sun and the sun and the moon and 11 stars, it can't be until Benjamin also came back, and also with his father. It said the sun and the moon, that means the father. And it said the moon, that refers to Bilhah. So, okay, listen to this strange midrash. Listen to this. There's a midrash that said that the brothers of Yosef went down, they were 10. Yosef said like this. He was the king, right? So Yosef said, okay, I know my brothers are going to come here. Anyone who comes to, he told the people who were in charge of giving out food, anyone who comes and wants food, ask him his name, and the name of his father, and the name of the city. And in the evening, bring me all of the cards of the people. You wrote down everybody's name. As soon as Bnei Yaakov came, each and every one of them went. They said each one came in a different gate so that nobody would know that they were brothers. And they all wrote their names down. In the evening, they brought all these pieces of paper with the names written on it, everyone who came in. And he said, oh, here's one person, his name is Reuven, the son of Yaakov. Here's one that's called Shimon, the son of Yaakov. Here's one that's called Gad, the son of Yaakov. Oh, Yosef said, this is what I've been looking for. Sadmu et Otzrot, close all of the storehouses and open only one. And give these names that I have to those people who come, and say him that when these people come to you, grab them and send for me. Well, 3 days went by and they didn't find these brothers. They didn't come. They didn't come to this one storehouse. There were thousands of people, who knows, millions of people coming to this storehouse for food, and they all showed their pieces of paper. they all said their names, rather, and they were waiting for somebody to say these names that are written on the papers that were written when they came in through the gates. Yosef said, it can't be the people come here and they can't and they didn't come for food. These 10 came, everybody else came except for these 10. Immediately Yosef took 10 of the strongest men from the house of Paro, and he sent them to look in the marketplace. They went, and where did they find the brothers? In the marketplace of prostitutes. Marketplace of prostitutes. What were they doing over there? They were supposed to come to buy food. He says, no, that wasn't their interest. Their interest was to find Yosef. Lama b'shuk shel zonot. Why were the brothers in a marketplace of prostitutes? What were they doing there? Omu, they said, Yosef yafet tor v'yafet mare. Yosef was beautiful. All the ladies liked him. And he didn't resist. Maybe hu b'kuba shel zonot. Maybe he's in a place where he feels right at home. It says that Potiphar's wife went crazy for him. Miyad tafsu otam, immediately these soldiers that came from Paro's house grabbed the 10 brothers. They said, what's your name? Yaakov ben, his name is Reuven ben Yaakov and Gad ben Yaakov, and this, grabbed them and they brought them in front of Yosef. And that's why they're called the brothers of Yosef, because they came down and their interest wasn't in food. Their interest was to look for Yosef. And that's where they found him. Interesting, huh? That's a midrash brought down by Rabbi Beinu V'chai. Let's go a little further and see how much we can finish of today's chitas. Today's chitas goes up to where? Just one moment, excuse me. Yeah, here it is. So see if we can go a little further. It goes up to 18. Okay, Benjamin, the brother of Yosef, Yaakov didn't send because he said maybe there's something bad's going to happen to him. Maybe there's something as bad is going to happen to him. Why? In the house, there can't nothing bad can happen to him. He kept him at house. Something bad can happen in the house also. It says from here we know that the Satan, that Abashata Sakana, when there's a danger, so that's when the power of angel of death can strike, when there's a danger. So he said, leave him at home, there won't be any danger, then I know that it'll be okay. And the brothers, the sons of Yisrael came to buy because there was like it says, there was hunger in the land of Canaan. Eventually this spreads to the whole world. And Yosef was the ruler of the land. He was the one who provided for all the people of the land, the people of the world. And the brothers of Yosef, they came and they bowed down to him. The brothers, they came and they bowed down to him. And he said to them, Yosef said his brothers, and he recognized them. But he not care and he made himself strange. He made himself like he wasn't affected. And he spoke to them hard language. And he said to them, where are you fellows coming from? And they said, we came from the land of Canaan to buy food. What's wrong? And there's tens of thousands of people coming here. What's the problem? It says Yosef recognized his brothers, and they didn't recognize him. And so Rashi says the reason they didn't recognize him was because when he left, he was only like 17 years old. When he left, he didn't have a beard. And now he was already 30 years old. So he had a beard, right? 30, maybe 31. That's what he says. They didn't recognize him. Now, he didn't have a beard when he left. And now they found him. He has a beard. The Midrash Agada says that Yosef recognized his brothers when they came in immediately. He recognized them. And and he had mercy on them. But they didn't recognize him. They didn't recognize him because they figured if this was really Yosef, he wouldn't have mercy on us. He wouldn't treat us in a nice way, right? He had mercy in his eyes. So this is our brother. He would kill us immediately after what we did for him. That's why they didn't recognize him. Lubavitcher Rebbe has a little bit different explanation, and I mean, an additional explanation why they didn't recognize him. So the brothers of Yosef, they were holy people. In fact, that's why they wanted to kill Yosef, because they were all big tzaddikim, and they were holy people, and they saw that Yosef was totally different than they were, and they figured that we're the ultimate good, and if Yosef is different from us, then he must be not good. And so that's why they wanted to kill him. They thought he was really going to try to destroy the world. The fact of the matter was that Yosef is a totally different type of person than they were, and he was a different type of a tzaddik. Yosef was like a rebbe, and he proved it over here. He came into Egypt, and he was ruling over the whole world, and he still was attached to God. Right? They saw that he still was, a holy person. So they thought to themselves, "Wow, this is not our brother. Nobody's like this that we know." Right? The brothers, in order to maintain their holy state, they had to be shepherds. A shepherd sits out in the fields, and nobody talks to him, nobody bothers him. Once in a while, maybe a wolf comes along or something like that, and he throws a rocket, and he's got dogs that help him out. And he's sitting there most of the time, 90% of the day, and doing absolutely nothing, just sitting there and playing his flute or thinking about God or whatever he's doing. Has no problem. So therefore, all the brothers, it says, were ro'ei tzon. They were all shepherds. And that's one of the reasons there was one of the gods of Egypt was the sheep, maybe the main god. That's why they gave the Jews to live in the land of Goshen, because they couldn't stand to be with people. We'll see later on in this week's portion. So it says that he recognized them, but they couldn't recognize him. They couldn't imagine that there could be a person who was a king of Egypt working in the most trying and difficult and disturbing situation that you could be in. Egypt, it says, was the lowest, but as far as morals go, in the world. A tremendous licentious. We talked about this before. And Yosef was the king of Egypt. He was ruling over all of Egypt. They couldn't imagine that anybody could be in that situation and still hold on to a level of holiness, so they didn't recognize it. Yosef was a different type of a person. Okay, so Yosef remembered the dreams that he dreamed, and he said to them, "You fellows are all spies. You came to see the nakedness of the land." They said, "What in the world is going on?" Right? I thought he had mercy in his eyes. All of a sudden, he comes up with this thing. He's accusing us of spies. So they think, listen, maybe we look like somebody else or something. They said to him, "No, Adoni, I'm our master. Your servants, we just came here to buy food like everybody else. We're not, maybe it's mistaken identity. We're all the sons of the same man. We're all truthful. We're not spies." But Yosef said, "Oh yeah, then why did you come in different gates? Why did you come in different gates? Huh? What are you trying to fool me or something?" He said, no, you came to see the land, the nakedness of the land. It says, because behold, Nichnastam Basar Yishar, you came into the different gates of the city. Why didn't you all come in one gate? What are you trying to hide from me? Huh? What are you trying to hide from me? They said, listen, the fact of the matter is, let me tell you, they said, let us tell you the whole story. They said to Yosef, listen, Yosef, we're going to pour out our hearts to you. We're really 12 brothers. We're 12 brothers. We're the sons of one man. He lives in the land of Canaan. The smallest one of us, named Benjamin, he's with our father, and one of our brothers is not here. Eineno, he's gone. He's gone. What do you mean he's gone? He's dead. He's not here. We don't know where he is. We would. Yosef says to them, nice story, but I'm not believing. He said, this is exactly what I said. You are a bunch of spies. Now you're telling him the truth. This is what I said to you, that you're all spies. It's true, and it's proper. What? Before. If you would Ilu matzatem oto, v'yafsiku aleichem mamon harbe, v'yifkidu. Omer ilu matzatem oto, v'yifsiku aleichem mamon harbe, tivdu. He said, if I bring your brother that's gone, and I tell you I have to pay a fortune to redeem him, would you pay? They said, yes. Omer he said, Im yomer locha shelo yachziru b'shum mamon. And what if I say that I'm holding on to your brother? I have him, and I'm not going to give him to you, no matter how much money. What are you going to do then? They said, then we're coming either to kill or to get killed. He said, Yosef said back to them, this is exactly what I told you. You came, you want to kill all the people in my city. That's when you come. Menachesh ani, I happen to be a sorcerer. I have a special cup. The two of them destroyed one whole city of Shechem, Shimon and Levi. I happen to know that you are a bunch of dangerous people, and you just admitted it to me, right? I said, what would you do if I told you that I have Yosef? I've got him in a prison, and I'm not going to let him go. What are you going to do now? They said, we're going to kill everybody. What are you talking about? So that's exactly what I told you. That's exactly, you're all a bunch of thieves, a bunch of traitors. Okay, let's get down to, Yosef says, let's get down to the lesson. Let's get down to this. You want money, you want food. That's what you want. Chai Paro, by the life of Paro. Yosef is swearing by the life of Paro. If you get out of this, unless you bring your small brother over here. Let's see if you're telling the truth or not. You're going to bring Benjamin. If not, you don't get any food. And not only that, send one of your brothers, and all of you are going to be, all the rest of the 9 of you, the other 9, will be here prisoners. Let's see if you're true what you said. If you don't, then by the life of Paro, you are a bunch of spies. I'm telling you, you're a bunch of spies. They said, by Yosef, and Yosef held all of them in prison for 3 days. All of them, all 10 of them. And they said, Yosef said on the 3rd day, okay, this is what you can do, and you'll live, because I fear God. I'm a God-fearing person. I'm going to do what I said. Bring one of your brothers back. Bring that little brother of yours back over here. I want to see him. And as soon as you bring him back, then everything's going to be okay. And finally, he says to them, if you want to, you can all go back. Just leave Shimon over here. He's going to be the collateral, and then bring your little brother back. We'll see what happens, God willing, tomorrow. And this is going to end the class today. today's class is ending here because I have to go. They're going to pick me up in a couple minutes to go to some army base, or to a policeman, something, a big meeting. So I have to go. Light the candles of Hanukkah. God bless you. Have a happy Hanukkah. And tomorrow, 8:15, we'll meet together.